Welcome to Falls Count Anywhere, where the wrestling ring meets the heart. Hosted by the gentleman Jody Powell, join us as we dive into the latest pro wrestling news and rumors, from the electrifying world of WWE to the inspiring stories of wrestling for Christ. This is your all-access pass to the action, the faith, and the hope. This is Falls Count Anywhere.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Falls Count Anywhere. I am your host, the gentleman Jody Powell. With me, as always, is the mad scientist, Mike Buchanan. And Mikey, buddy, I think you're deep in the Buchanan laboratory. The lab's back open, man.
Yes, sir, I am. I'm back. Uncle Sam and I finally came to an agreement, and it's just in time, Jody. I have something to help everybody at the new year.
Okay. I'm excited to hear this, I think. I'm a little scared.
Yeah, I think we developed a collar like this maybe for something else. Maybe it was for watching the wrong shows or voting the wrong way. But no, this is a New Year's accountability reinforcement collar.
New Year's accountability reinforcement collar.
Call it NARC for short.
a NARC collar.
Yes.
Okay, what does the NARC collar do? Every
time you eat an extra donut, every time you don't go to the gym or watch that TV show you said you wouldn't, it gives you a mild shock.
like a resolution breaking accountability partner.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I have a question then. If I order my NARC,
yep,
and can you put a little sequin bow tie on it?
Sure.
Oh yes, I'm in, brother.
Only for you. Only for your special one-time offer.
Man, I'm all about that. I need something to keep me on track. Not that I set any resolutions. I actually did not, because I don't want to lie to myself. But I do have things I want to accomplish, so I'm assuming I can program that in. And
yeah, exactly.
Every step that I take that is not accomplishing.
Exactly. Totally programmable. Speaking of things you want to accomplish, I know you want to accomplish expressing your thoughts about the first Monday Night Blah of the year.
I have thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, about Monday Night Raw that we saw last week. I have thoughts about what we might see going forward on upcoming PLEs, pay-per-views, large events, whatever they're going to call it these days. But let's jump into WWE, a little Raw action. And let me just say, for something that was going to be so hyped, such a big show, no, not the big show, but a big show, I was not impressed. I wasn't. And I know that shocks everybody that you and I are not impressed with WWE.
Maybe that's what we should call this segment.
We're not
what
impressed.
WWE did wrong this week.
Yeah, it should be, instead of WWE, it should be WNI. We're not impressed. We're not. We're on acronyms this week for some reason.
Yes, we are.
Speaking of acronyms and short names, Raw started off with the women's tag team title match. Rio making their tag team title aspirations known against the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah, I gotta admit though, Jody, you sent me a message and I liked your typo better than Rio. You called him Rhino.
Oh man, if only it was Rhino and he could just gore everyone out of the ring.
I miss the gore.
I do miss the gore. I miss the Rhino gore. No one has done. I mean, Braun Breaker, ever since he speared I'm So Slow or Not Your Show or whatever that guy's name was that was in. What was he in the Royal Rumble last year? I mean, that spear took him out of his shoes. Ever since then, Braun Breaker has pulled back on his spear. It's not powerful. It's timed and usually mistimed, and it looks bad. That was the last best spear I've seen. You never saw that from Rhino. Rhino would gore you, and you better take it. It's because Rhino was old school. That's what you get.
Yep. Anyway, I've detracted us.
Speaking of Rhino or Rio de Janeiro, whatever it is, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, your new tag team champions, and I am not a fan of how this turned out. I know there are a lot of people that are excited about Io and Rhea being tagged. I go back to what I've said week after week after week after week. Our top stars in the women's division do not need to be main eventing in tag team matches. Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, they need to be competing for the Women's World Championship. They need to be battling one another, not competing for a lesser tiered tag team title. I mean, take someone like Maxine Dupree and Lyra Valkyria and throw some of them into, and you know what? You can make it interesting. You can build them into future main eventers. But right now, all of our main eventers are there. You've got Asuka, you've got Io, you've got Rhea, you've got Charlotte, you've got Alexa. Everyone except Becky Lynch. And then guess what? We don't have Becky Lynch in the world title picture either. And I don't understand it. We've got the world title on Stephanie Valkyria. Nothing against her. Nothing against her. She's not main event yet. She's just not. And she's fighting Nikki Bella. I mean, 2002 called and they want their diva back. I mean, come on. What are we doing here? Now we've got to go through a whole tag team title reign for Rhea and Io. So that's just going to take more time away from them being in the main event picture, which means, we're about to hit the road to WrestleMania. And I have a feeling that tag team title is going to keep them from being part of the world title picture, which is just a shame. It's just a shame. And it's nothing against them as a tag team. I just would rather see them in the main event.
I think we said it last year about this road to WrestleMania, brother. Ever since what's-his-face left, Vincent Kennedy McMahon left, the road to WrestleMania has been filled with more potholes than anything else. Or plot holes, depending on how you want to look at it.
Hey, the road to WrestleMania must travel right through South Carolina. Because our roads are terrible here.
Speaking of terrible, I know you have a different opinion. But what about that match between Breakker and CM? Crappy match, Pump.
I thought the match was fine. I know you thought it was a doo-doo pile, but I thought it was fine. I thought the match was fine. Here's what I have a problem with. I don't even have a problem with Punk retaining. What I have a problem with is I've seen this story before. Last year on our debut episode of Raw on Netflix, we had Seth Rollins and CM Punk, right? Who won that match?
CM Punk.
CM Punk won the match. And then what happened?
He lost the belt.
We went on and what did we get at WrestleMania? We got CM Punk and we got Seth Rollins. Well, here we are. And now we've got the world title involved, but take that out of the picture for a minute. We have CM Punk in the main event of the 1 year anniversary. Who won the match? CM Punk. Now, where is that going to lead? That's going to lead to Braun Breaker finding a way to get in the main event of WrestleMania to get back at CM Punk and finally win his title. And it's a story that we've heard before. I was not expecting Braun to win, and I didn't necessarily want him to win on that show because that show's not big enough. But I don't want to hear the repeat of what we saw last year.
Well, here's something that they could do different in the Royal Rumble. And this is totally fanboy booking or whatever you want to call it. And then I'll come back with a thought on that Raw match. What they could do with Breakker is put Breakker in at number 1 for the Royal Rumble. And then he literally just, as soon as they come in, he pours them out.
I've seen that before too, though. I've seen that before too. Remember Brock Lesnar?
He didn't pour out 29 people, brother. He didn't spear 29 people. I'm talking about like they're out quicker than Pete Rose was when Kane was chasing him back in the day.
Oh, Charlie Hustle. I don't know if I want to see that, though.
Well, it would be different. Give me credit.
It would be different. It would be different. I think it would almost feel like WWE is then pushing him down our throat. Like, I'm okay if Braun wins. I'm okay if he wins. But I'm okay if he goes from first to last. But don't do like the Brock Lesnar booking where every guy that comes out, he's tossing him out, he's tossing him out.
Okay, fair point.
Could it build him as an unstoppable force? Maybe. But it'd probably feel more like the force feeding us like they did Roman Reigns back in the day.
Yeah, but here's what I didn't like about the match on Monday between the two.
Yep.
In my opinion, from what I saw, it was like you had an old school face, if it looked like somebody like an old school Nikki the Dragon Creamboat or whatever his name was, versus Ric Flair when Creamboat had the title. And then Flair's doing his thing, but he needs a little bit of help, so the rest of the original Horsemen come in. And then out of the blue to help Creamboat, here comes 2 Mulkeys and 1 of the Ding Dongs. if the Vision is going to be your force, there's no way, and I've said it about Reigns, he has no business beating all four of them. And the three jobbers, jumping beans, have no business beating anybody except for maybe Logan Paul.
Well, I'll give you that one. I'm just stunned that you're not a Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. What'd you call him? Nikki Creamboat? Come on.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Everybody
I
loves Steamboat.
I called him a dragon, so of course they're evil in the Bible, so that probably fits.
Well, that's true too.
We should say something more positive. I think you have a better outlook on Gunther's.
No, I don't actually.
Oh no!
Let me tell you about Gunther's promo.
Oh no!
That was garbage. That was the worst promo I think I've ever seen. It was so forced. Both men had no idea what to say. And it was so obvious that they were trying to do this off the cuff. They weren't rehearsed. If they have rehearsed, it was terrible. Terrible. The only good part about it was when Gunther kept interrupting AJ Styles. But then, AJ turned around and just smacked Gunther right in the mouth. That was beautiful. I was like, okay, here we go. Gunther's going to come out. We're going to get a brawl. Gunther didn't do anything. Are you kidding me? You're supposed to be building this guy up as your new legend killer. He gets smacked in the face, disrespected by AJ Styles, who is on his way out. He is a legend that is going out. Gunther thinks he's better than him, and Gunther gets smacked in the face and doesn't do anything. And then what is AJ's? It was like AJ was like expecting a punch or expecting something, like they were supposed to go there and they didn't. And all we got out of it was AJ saying something like, nothing, that's what I thought. What are we, on the playground? Is this 7th grade? Are you kidding me? That's what we got? What a horrible, horrible promo. And I am not looking forward to an AJ Styles Gunther match. I really am not. And I know we're going to get that, I think tonight. I think it's tonight. And so I'm not looking forward to that now. That promo just kind of killed it for me. And, AJ's always been a little iffy with his promos, but that was the worst. That was absolutely the worst.
What if they send in Randy Orton to RKO Gunther, and that kicks off as your real feud, and AJ goes back to tag team titles?
I don't want AJ back in the tag team titles. I want AJ to. What I really like is AJ in like a second tier title picture, not the Intercontinental, because he's already done that. But
US?
Some kind of second, because he had that thing with Dom, and right when Dom won the title, it was not good. But I want to see AJ Styles do something really important. I don't want to see them mess up his retirement year like they did Cena's. But I'll tell you what we are going to see. Coming up after the break, we're going to see what happened last Saturday night on Battleground at Steel Salvation 2. 2 nights of steel cage matches. The second night happened this past Saturday night, and we're going to talk about it right after these messages. Welcome back, fans. Falls Count Anywhere. And I got to tell you, Mikey, last Saturday night, Battleground, Steel Salvation Night 2 of the cage matches on EPW, Ephesians Pro Wrestling, seen right here Saturday nights on Abundant TV at 6 p.m. And it started off with the tag team titles, and we thought this was going to be a forfeit because the champs came out. We know that they were supposed to take on Aaron Eagle and Omega. And, of course, Aaron Eagle had that terrible accident that happened back in October, broke his neck, legitimately probably will not wrestle again, very possibly.
That's sad.
It's such a sad thing. I mean, he's such a great competitor, a good guy. Aaron Eagle, just praying for you, buddy. But the tag team champs came out, the Hillbilly Outlaws, which we all know Ryan Hart loves that name. But HBO and Ryan Hart came out. Ryan Hart saying, hey, well, I'm going to follow the rules here. The contract stated that these two guys had a title shot and they're not able to compete, so we win by forfeit. And just as they were about to announce the winners as the Outlaws, the music for Omega hit. Omega comes out. He says, "Oh yeah, okay, Omega. Here's the deal. You got to have a partner. You got to have Aaron Eagle. We know he's not cleared." Well, guess whose music hits? That's right. Everyone's hero, the Aaron Eagle, comes out, but he's not cleared to wrestle. Of course, what he did say is that he has signed away his contract. He has forfeited his talent contract with EPW and signed a new one that says general manager. And so he made it official, Mike. Omega would get a shot at the tag team titles in the steel cage against the Hillbilly Outlaws with a new partner. And that partner was the Guardian. Are you kidding me? The return of the Guardian.
Shades of Dusty Rhodes Batman.
I mean, absolutely. And out he came, and guess what? We've got new tag team champions because the Guardian and Omega both ended up escaping the cage in this tag team cage match. Well, actually, no, the Guardian escaped, and then Omega got the pin on Ryan Hart to conclude that match. New tag team champions, the Guardian and Omega. It kind of breaks my heart a little bit because I kind of like the Hillbilly Outlaws.
I know you do, but now they'll fight with each other.
The Heartbreak Outlaws with the Hillbilly Outlaw HBO. The Heartbreak Outlaws. Calling them the wrong name there. But new tag team champions nonetheless. And we'll have to see what this means for Ryan Hart and HBO as a tag team. If that continues or if this means the end of the Heartbreak Outlaws, which I hope it doesn't. I'm kind of digging that. Next match, we had another steel cage. All these steel cage matches. And I got to tell you, the Guardian, when he returned, Crimson Mask. He wore it. Wore it big time.
Sometimes I miss those. Sometimes I don't.
He absolutely wore the colors, brother. Then we had Dustin the Bogle, taking on Bam Bam Malone in a steel cage. Escape only, because, you know, Dustin Bogle, the Mogul, he was always, just like the $1 Million Man, he was paying off those referees. And Bam Bam Malone wanted to take the referee out of the equation. No more temptation for the referee because this was an escape the cage only match. And, of course, Bam Bam Malone able to climb over and hop down, escape the cage, get the win. And then we had the main event. The EPW Championship on the line. Ultra Ego Braxton Shaw, the champ, taking on APOC, the big monster APOC. Guy's huge. Talk about Rhino. He's 3 rhinos. And in the end of the day, we had ourselves a little bit of a masked man interference as someone in a mask came out and slammed the cage door on APOC as he was leaving the ring.
Well, it was either Austin Theory or the ghost of Kurt Hennig, one of the two, I'm assuming.
I think it was actually Ric Flair. I think it was the Black Scorpion. Could have been Austin Theory. Could have been what's the guy from the tag team that everyone thought was in the mask? I just drew a blank on his name.
Montez Ford?
Montez Ford, thank you. You know, it could have been Montez Ford. I don't know. But anyway, the masked man slammed the door into APOC, and the champ retains. What an incredible 2-night event. Steel Salvation, EPW. Fans, you're going to want to check out EPW this week. You know, they have an amazing school for young people for wanting to get involved in wrestling for teenagers. That, I believe, is going to be highlighted this Saturday night. You're going to want to check out EPW Battleground this Saturday, 6 p.m., right here on Abundant TV. Fans, when we come back here on Falls Count Anywhere, it's going to be our favorite segment of the show, Finding Tomorrow. Stay tuned. Fans, don't forget to check out the new show on Abundant TV, Men Like Us. Just guys sitting around candidly discussing the pressures and expectations that men face on a daily basis. Watch it now on demand on Abundant TV.
Welcome back, viewers, to our favorite part of the show, Finding Tomorrow. You know, Jody, we kidded around about me in the laboratory earlier about New Year's resolutions. But the thought did occur to me that New Year's is a good time to think about our past and what we may want to change about ourselves, especially spiritually, and maybe even personally.
Yeah.
You know, as you and I were talking beforehand, it dawned dawned on me that in about 5.5, 6 months from now, we'll celebrate America's 250th anniversary.
Right.
And then it hit me 50 years. And I thought about the year of Jubilee in the Old Testament and what that meant for people. Now, if we stay on the physical side, maybe it's too much like a resolution, but let me read you this out of Leviticus 25, verse 8. Count off 7 Sabbaths of 7 years, so that the 7 Sabbaths of years amount to a period of 49 years. Then have the trumpet sounded everywhere on the 10th day of the 7th month. On the Day of Atonement, sound the trumpet throughout your land. And then it goes on for a little bit to talk about, forgive the people that borrowed money from you, right? Let slaves owe. Mm-hmm. And my thought was that, I had a grudge. I don't know if I've told you this one. This just hit me. Jody, I had a grudge for like 7 years or so with this one dude. He had no clue about it. Everybody else that knew both of us knew. I missed him by about that much one year, and everybody was rejoicing that I wasn't in town. But I called him one night to ask for forgiveness. He's like, "What are you talking about, dude?" I'm like, "Never mind." But I know there are those out there that have been hurt by people, family, friends. You can forgive them of their debt to you, as it were, not revenge. But here's the thing. We talk about a year of release. You can release yourself from the burden of carrying that around. Yeah. You can let God provide for you new stuff in this new year. Now, speaking of provision, Jody, you found something that had to do with provision since they were supposed to take a year off, what was going to happen to them food-wise?
Yeah, part of the commandments of the year of Jubilee, that 50th year, was to not plant, not to plant crops the year before, in the 7th year, the 49th year, essentially. And so there was this. Well, wait a minute, we're not gonna reap a harvest during the year of Jubilee, during the 50th year. What in the world are we going to eat? And of course, God has a plan. Leviticus 25, 20 and 21 says this: "You may ask, what will we eat in the 7th year if we do not plant or harvest our crops?" God said, "I will send you such a blessing in the 6th year that the land will yield enough for 3 years." Now, it's interesting right here, Mike, because God doesn't say, "Listen, I'm going to give you enough in that 6th year to cover you for the 7th year." God says, "I'm going to give you enough in the 6th year, or that 48th year, or the 49th year. I'm going to give you enough in that year to cover you for the 50th year that you're not reaping harvest, and the 51st, and the 52nd. I'm going to give you more than you need." And when we think about kind of that day of atonement, that resetting of things, of freeing ourselves of burdens, of forgiving debts, forgiving, the Lord's Prayer literally says, "Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors." So if we are debtors, right? If we have debtors in our lives, if we have people that have wronged us, that have hurt us, that we hold a grudge for, like you were talking about, Mike, this could be the year that we forgive those. If you have a family member you haven't talked to in years, maybe this is the year to make that call. Maybe this is the year to rekindle that friendship. Maybe this is the year to reach out to a family member, to a friend. Maybe this is the year to rekindle the romance in your marriage, to pursue your spouse, to make your marriage about them again and not about you. And you might be saying, "How in the world can I do that? I've said some things, they've said some things, and I don't have the compassion or the forgiveness or the ability to move past it." Well, go back to what God just told them, just told the Israelites when they said, "What are we going to eat?" There's not. How are we going to eat if we don't reap a harvest? God said, I'll give you so much going into this that you're going to have enough for 3 years, let alone just one. Well, you pray for that forgiveness. You pray for that mending of that relationship with someone. And God will provide you with the words. God will provide you so much more than just the words. He'll give you the courage. He'll give you the words. He'll give you the grace. He'll give you the patience. He'll give you everything you need beyond repairing that relationship because he promised it. And that's how this year of this 250th year in America of being in existence, this could be our 5th Jubilee year.
Yeah.
That's how I think we make this country better, is that we begin to forgive those who think differently than us, who talk differently from us, who believe differently from us. We begin to step across the aisles, whether it's political aisles, social aisles, cultural aisles, ethnic aisles. Maybe now is the time that we begin to mend those relationships. And if everyone just mends 1 or 2 relationships in this country, imagine the amount of goodwill that we could have in this, the 250th year of their country and the 5th Jubilee year. It'd be amazing.
Speaking of provision, as you were talking, I'm tempted to let the fans behind the curtain a little bit, but I probably won't just yet. But anyway, the thought just occurred to me. We're talking about planning in 1 year, not seeing stuff years down the road if you don't, and not having to do anything. There are people listening to us. I'm one of them that have not only relationships that they've messed up with or somebody's messed them up. There are people watching this, gentleman, that they have family members. Not just that they have hurt them, but moms and dad and meemaws and peepaws have grandchildren that aren't walking with the Lord.
Yeah.
And they think they want to live up. And just like you said, God will provide. Mm-hmm. You've just got to trust in that. And I know that's hard sometimes.
It is. It is hard sometimes. And it does come down to faith, and faith is a hard thing. It's a hard thing, especially, it's not so hard when things are good.
Right.
When things are going great, having faith in God's not so hard when you're being blessed. It's when you're being sharpened. It's when you're being challenged. It's when you're being molded like clay. It hurts. It's painful. We go through things. Being a Christian doesn't mean you don't go through storms. It means you go through a lot more, but we come out so much better on the other side.
Jesus went through a lot of pain for us.
Yeah.
He forgave us when we were literally unforgivable.
Yeah.
And maybe in this new year, maybe, I don't know who's watching. Wish I did. Wish I could Zoom everybody, but maybe in this new year, there's somebody that's like, keep hearing about Jesus. My friends at work told me about it. My kid told me about it. I'm just too far gone. No, you're not. God provided, in essence, an ongoing jubilee for that purpose of setting you free from sin when he sent his son Jesus to die for your sin on the cross.
That's right.
All you have to do is just repent. Say, God, I'm sorry for the things I've done wrong. And then turn around. Don't just say it, right? Because we want to be doers of the word, not hearers. And then just ask the Lord, hey, God, I believe you sent Jesus to die for me. I believe that you didn't just leave him there, that he rose from the dead 3 days later. And I want to follow in his footsteps, as it were.
Yeah. That would be such a jubilee.
Hey, I just thought about this too. The Bible promises when one sinner comes to repentance, the angels up in heaven, they have a jubilee.
Absolutely. It's a huge celebration. You know what else is a huge celebration?
What's that?
The Clash! Right here, coming up next with Jeff Dixon and Chris Whaley on Abundant TV. Stay tuned.